am a pupil of the Golden Rosy Cross, and we usually hold these webinars here in Norway in Norwegian and English, like today. So we have also some friends from Sweden that can attend these lectures in English. The topic for today's webinar is about the inner harmony. So it's harmony within a journey of inner transformation. That is our topic. And the title already suggests that to reach some kind of inner harmony, we have to go a journey, or there is a path, or maybe a process of transformation. So it is something that needs to be transformed within us. And so inner harmony, it's something that cannot be, maybe not achieved without that transformation. And that is what we would like to talk about with you, about also that process, also what needs to be transformed within us, because this is always a process that takes place within us, so we can experience and be part of a bigger or higher harmony. So let's start with talking a little about harmony. And something I would like to share with you is like this little sentence once I read in one of my mother's books about, and the sentence, it was about sacred geometry. And it was written there that what is divine, that what is perfect, communicates to us or with us through harmony. And that we can easily experience through watching a sunset, for example, or looking in nature, how all the processes in nature are so harmonious, how a flower just blossoms, open up in such a perfection that we just feel in our heart. We just know that there is a perfection there, that there is a beauty, but we cannot grasp. We cannot say why. Why is that harmony in there? It is like, we could say, like nothing is missing. Like there is a sense of completeness in that. And there we can experience that what was written in that little sentence, that the divine communicates with us through harmony. It is a very special language, because it is, everything is placed first in a state of completeness. That's the impression we get. And in a state where there is nothing that it's above or below, nothing that it's better or worse, but everything belongs to the same level, the same plane. And there we experience this harmony that can almost not be explained or expressed with words, but we know it. We know within ourselves how that is and what that feels. And so we go from that impression and from that feeling, and almost like a longing for that harmony, we go in our daily lives and we try to bring some harmony into our days, into our relationships. And in some areas we do succeed. In other areas it's a little harder, but we long for that and we try to have less disagreement. We try to have less conflict and a little more peace. But in a way, we can manage that and that can last for a while. But there are always some areas where that really, we don't really reach that it's a little harder. Or even we look for harmony also with the environment. The human being destroys nature and the environment, and we have seen that destruction and how bad that is to the planet and to all of us. And now we long for making it more in balance. We long for having that completeness in a way. And so there is that search, there is that longing within us for not only for harmony, but also for everything that leads to harmony. It's a longing for love that we have also deep within ourselves. It is a long for equality that, yeah, that everyone has the same rights and can have or experience life in its best. We have the longing for freedom. We have the longing for brotherhood. So this is all part of something deep within the human heart, and in a way we all look for that with all our forces. And now I would invite you to look a little better and a little deeper within ourselves and how our consciousness works, so we can understand why there is a longing, why we recognize that love, that harmony in so much around us, in nature, and why can't we really make it true in our lives, in everything that we experience? Why is that? And if we look at our consciousness, human beings' consciousness, we could say in very simple words that the consciousness is formed by the center of the head first, or the center of thoughts, reflection, and reason. So the thought life, that is the first center. Then the second center, that is the center of the heart, it's the emotional center, or emotions and feelings. And the third center, that is the center of actions and reactions, also related to the willpower. So we can say that we have three centers of our consciousness, or we can say as well of our soul. So it is head, heart, and action and reaction. And these three centers, they should be in balance, right? They should form a perfect triangle. But what happens with us, with our state of consciousness now, is that triangle is not perfect. There's always one side that it's a little bigger, than the other, or even one side that's much smaller than the other two. And there we can also then relate this imbalance to three different kinds of humans. We have people that are much more head, that the thought, the reason comes ahead everything else, that comes ahead the feeling, or it comes ahead action. It's a lot of thinking, it's a lot of reasoning. Or the second group, that it's more related to emotions, and people that are where the side of this triangle related to emotions is much bigger. And that comes first, and we react emotionally to things much too fast. Then we could even reflect on or act on it. And the people that are more action, and that is also a group of people that do, the doers, that do before feeling or before thinking. But the thing here is to realize that there is a imbalance, that there is a disharmony already in the way our consciousness works. And that is what is so interesting. And that is what the spiritual school, or the all the teachings, these universal teachings that have been brought to us throughout time, using different languages or different traditions, but talking about that one and the same thing, that there is a disharmony in our consciousness, in our state, but there is at the same time something within us that knows the harmony, that recognizes what love is, not what we call love, the love that wants something back, but the pure love. So there is something within us that longs for that, that recognizes that. And it goes much beyond our explanation, our capacity of putting in words. And that's very interesting. So what is that then? And that is a very important point to talk about, so we can understand where is this harmony that we search, and how can we get to it. So the source of the harmony, or the source of that eternal present that we also talk a lot about, the source of real love, or the source of the divine, or the spirit, is already in the human being. And we can call it, like the school calls it, the rose of the heart, or the spirit spark in the heart. Or it can also be called for the lotus flower, like probably many of you have heard already about the lotus flower, this seed, this core of something divine that dwells within all of us. And in exactly that point, we are all the same. In exactly that reality of what's the essential, the real being within us, we are all the same. So we have it already. There is no difference. We can be different in other aspects, in the way we think life, in the way our consciousness, that is this triangle that it's totally in disharmony, that this I consciousness, it's all a little in disharmony, but there in that core, we are not in disharmony. We are not lacking love or lacking brotherhood or equality. There we are all the same. The alchemy calls that center as the quintessence. And we had a webinar last month on alchemy here. And it was very interesting, beautiful webinar. And the quintessence is exactly that lotus flower, or that spirit spark, or even mustard seed, that Jesus seed in the heart. And that quintessence transforms, is the key, is the source of all transformation of all metals into gold. And of course, here we are talking about the gold of the spirit, the gold of perfection, and this transformation that happens within us, within the human being. So alchemy has given this name, quintessence, and I would like to bring here a very simple example, a very simple and known example of that, what I'm talking about. And that is the example of the caterpillar and the butterfly that you probably have seen in this image that we had in our on our page for the event, that there was this human being and we could see butterfly wings around that human being. And for me, it's one of the most beautiful and expressive symbols that is in nature. But like everything else in nature, it's trying to awake something in us. It's trying to bring us to recognize something deeper that maybe we have been too blind to see. And the caterpillar is this larva that crawls on earth. And the caterpillar has already in itself the DNA of the butterfly. Just to say it with simple words. The caterpillar that being that doesn't remind us on a butterfly at all, that being has the imprint, it has the DNA of a butterfly in it. And the butterfly is the symbol for not only what's spiritual, but it's a symbol of harmony. It's the symbol of freedom, but it's the symbol of a wonderful transformation that happens when we surrender to that transformation. And when we, using that example of the caterpillar, when we recognize that we carry that DNA, let's say like that imprint of something perfect within us, and when we recognize that we go a process of transformation, that we accept that process of transformation. Because there is no butterfly if the caterpillar doesn't go the process, if the caterpillar doesn't give herself to a bigger goal or a bigger transformation. So in the end, we cannot say that the butterfly is the caterpillar, because it's not. But we can neither say that the butterfly it's not the caterpillar completely, because it has everything that the caterpillar surrendered, gave in the name of that free being that came after her. So it is a beautiful example, and very spiritual as well, because that's exactly like that we should think of our own lives. The transformation has to come, but we have to know about it and surrender so that can happen. Otherwise, it won't happen. So now you can think, yeah, okay, we have that that DNA or that insight in us, but at the same time, we are all that disharmony that we talked about in the beginning, that consciousness that it's not in harmony, and we see so much egocentrism in the world. And so what is that? How come? What is the wall that we have to go through or to go over so this process can happen in us? And there it's another very important point, a very important key of all these teachings that we are talking about here, or that we have read so many times and heard of. It is the key that those walls that keep us from experiencing that harmony, experiencing that love and that equality, those walls, they are our own state of consciousness. So those walls are the state of consciousness that we call the I, or the egocentric state of consciousness. That is a state of consciousness that has been built over the years and over thousands and thousands of years as a state of consciousness that it's very individual and very isolated from the all, from everything. And that state of consciousness sees and perceives the world in a very particular way. The way we build our personality as ego is very different from each other. It's very, very particular. We build our identity as egos, or as this consciousness that I'm talking about, with so much influences that are very different. We build it based on our culture, for example. We build it based on our parents, our family, society, the time that we are born, or the experiences we have had throughout our lives, the traumas that we have gone through, that all builds an identity that is the ego identity. And once more, that identity is very particular and can only see the things and the world in that very individual kind of way. And there is exactly where we experience disharmony, because in a world where there are so many goods, different opinions on what is good, there's of course going to be conflict, and we see the most terrible things that go on and that hurt us so deeply, and people that are aggressive with each other because they think differently, because they believe in different things, or very little respect, very little brotherhood, very little freedom. And we ask ourselves, wow, where is the love? Where is that what should be above everything else? So that wall of the egocentric consciousness is what we should go over. And for people like all of you, for example, that have attended other lectures or that are here for the first time, you have already something different, something that is ripe, something that is already awakening or awakened completely, that sees the world already differently, that sees life, that sees your own life to begin with differently. We recognize that there is something of the essence of who we are that we have to get closer to. We recognize that there is something that has put us apart from that what is already the harmony and love and all of that within us. Because that's exactly what Rumi says in one of his quotes or one of his poetries. He says that we don't need to look for love. What we should do is to look within ourselves and find where are the walls that we have built against love, because love is already there. And when we do that, we realize that harmony is already there also, even though life goes on, even though we keep on having our problems and things to resolve, but the harmony is in there. And that is a very important step on that journey of, first of all, recognizing that and learning to know ourselves deeply. And to end this introduction, I would like to say a little bit about that recognition and how to learn to know ourselves, because that's a very, very important step already. And we can learn to know ourselves through, for example, moments there we feel anxiety, or that we feel pain, or that we recognize, well, why do I always react like that? Why to this person or that other person, or in this kind of situation, why do I always react like that? Where is the source for that? And we don't only see we don't only see the pain or the anxiety, but we try to look where it comes from. And to be honest, there is so much that, so different places that anxiety can come from, or that reaction can come from. It can be from a feeling of feeling unworthy, for example, or going through so many different traumas throughout life that now we are here and we react in a certain kind of way always. So what's important is to recognize that, not only recognize the pattern that we react, the emotions that we have one after the other, or anger, or not only recognize that, but give a step back without judging that what we are seeing, without criticizing that what we are seeing or others, but learning to know why is it there? I see that in me. I see. But we create some kind of space when we do that. And in that space, we are able to feel that I am not that anxiety. That's not who I truly am. I am not those traumas that make me react now in the present moment like I react. I'm not that. The ego thinks that our identity is exactly everything that we have experienced, our traumas, anxiety, anger, all. But in reality, that's not who we truly are. And that is the most important step, to recognize that in reality, we are something much different from that. That even though we feel that anxiety, even though we have those kind of reactions, that's not our essential being. And there is the key for feeling or getting to harmony. Creating that space. We won't be perfect, but something that is perfect within us can find space. Something that is from love and harmony, that is from the spirit or divine nature, can grow within us as well, because that is saying yes to a process of transformation. That is being a caterpillar and recognizing that we have to be brave so the butterfly can be born.